the other thing that teenagers are into is music. I mean, I've fallen out a little bit with the music. I can remember when I was a lot younger, I used to always watch the Grammys every year and all that kind of stuff. And, now I'm like set in my, listen to my 70s and 80s music, and I listen to my heavy metal and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not really that up to date with the latest music, and it's a waste of my time to sit down and watch the Grammys and all that kind of stuff. But now with my girls
Look,
being into the music,
Gonna be honest with you, like if I see you tuning into playing some K-pop stuff, like I would sit back. I would sit back and say I've seen everything.
Well, dude, I can send you a screenshot of my the 2020 pics from Spotify on my profile. There's probably more K-pop on there than anything else. And that's because when we're driving in the car, we're playing music using my phone and my Spotify account. So Spotify thinks that I'm one of the biggest K-pop fans ever.
Wow.
Meanwhile, it's producer Bex that is the culprit there. But it's fine.
We have to get you. We have to get you, Andrew. Come on. There's no shame in admitting that you like BTS. We'll get you BTS t-shirts.
Exactly.
I do like some of their songs. But I mean, the thing that I wanted to talk about was, with the Grammys, is that now that I've been, like getting into a bit more BTS, and Becky was mentioning to me the other day that, who knows what's going with the Grammys, because all these guys are doing so well. They charting on the Billboard Top 100. They're in the top 10 for X amount of weeks and whatever, and then they don't even get nominated in the Grammys. I mean, I don't know if you've noticed any of that.
Competition is tough, man.
I don't know if it's about competition. They're starting to, the artists are starting to call out the Grammys or the judges or whoever chooses who gets nominated on various things. I think over the last couple of years, the industry is becoming more and more vocal about diversity when it comes to music and who gets nominated, and also have the same issue with the Oscars and all that kind of thing. But I mean, they are starting to call them out on some of these things. It's like, how is it possible that someone that's been a couple of artists that have been doing so well haven't been nominated?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, one of them is The Weeknd, is an artist that I enjoy. I enjoy his music.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's been around for a long time. I mean, he's
established. He's been successful, a long track history. Has he ever won a music award?
Well, he's won 3 Grammy Awards for Best R&B in 2016, and then Best Urban Contemporary Album in 2016 and 2018. But he's only really come onto my radar with his latest album, which is the one that I like, the music of his that I like the most.
Sure.
And seems to be doing a lot better than his other stuff. I mean, he spent 4 weeks at the number 1 on the Billboard 200, and then collected nearly 900 million on-demand US streams in 2020. Wow. And his song Blinding Lights was spent 43 weeks on the top 10, and he didn't get nominated.
I mean, it is tough, right? To get, I mean, it's tough for the awards organization, because there are so many artists out there. There's always going to be people that are unhappy. It's always going to be controversial, and sometimes there's people that make that you've never heard of, and that's maybe good for music. But at the same time, do they have a lot of the same old names that keep popping up every few years?
Yeah.
Just because, I don't know, let's go back a bit. Madonna, who has a long music career, every time she brought a new album out, people would go and buy it because it's Madonna. She'd always be adjusting her music to be more appealing to the next generation. So naturally there would be a demand for it, and that would just launch her back into the charts. But should she be, nominated for a Grammy every time she does something? Maybe, maybe not.
Yeah,
well, but you can only have so many nominations. What they don't advertise is their complete list that they had for a category.
Yes. And do you think that they would be worth them doing that? Because then at least they can see the people They didn't make it onto the nomination list, but they were on the short
Yeah, but
list.
then
if
are
you
we
wanna
going to
call
be
it that.
bombarded with DJs on a radio going, oh, this is so and so artist. They made it to the top 100 shortlist for the Grammys in 2020. It'd be like every song. Oh, they also made it. Oh, they also made it. Well, in fact, we're not playing you unless you made the top 200 on the Grammy shortlist.
Oh,
So
it's not a
screw
bad
you guys.
idea. Jeez. Dude, I don't know.
So the new artists would struggle. They would never launch.
Yeah.
Okay, I had another thought here, though. I mean, how do they get the shortlist? How do they make sure they get the right winner? Is it based on downloads, album sales in one form or another? How do they actually measure the popularity? And is the
don't know.
popularity now skewed because we're now starting to have, let's use TikTok. You know, there's a lot of songs that have gone viral because of TikTok, and they've been picked up as what we now call TikTok tunes because they're used for so many of the dance videos.
Yes.
So they've been popularized that way.
Yeah.
I don't know, how far do they take this counting and
But I mean, do you think with like a lot of these things, like with the industry, is that like when technology or like social media apps and whatever takes the industry to a different place, that a lot of these old institutions take a lot of time to transform? Because like, you know, before they wouldn't even count streaming stats as, you know, like the old record sales.
Yeah. So you're suggesting that the Grammy organization is archaic?
Well, I don't know. I'm putting it out there. Is that the issue? Like you were saying, how far do they take it? Okay, so they trending on TikTok. You know, does that get counted in the stats? Yes or no? And how do you do that?
And what if it's just a rubbish song, but actually there was like 15 seconds of a good riff, and the riff was the thing that became famous? But actually, you should be measuring the artist based on their skills, the how they've created the sound, whether the lyrics work.
Yeah. So what you're saying is you exclude all songs that have samples from previous songs because it's not original.
No covers.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Look, with regards to Grammys, there's going to be some subjectivity involved, right? Because, you know, with arts, you know, music, painting, you know, the beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and the same goes for music. There's going to be some subjectivity involved. It's not going to be pure stats-based approach, because then like it's going to become impossible for new and very talented artists to actually break through and be nominated, you know. Like if it's only based on basically stats from the media platforms like, I don't know, YouTube Music, you know, TikTok, etc., etc., it's going to be impossible for new artists to actually break in, or very difficult.
But I've always got the feeling, and maybe I'm wrong, is that I've got the feeling that it's been easier for for artists to break through, but not using the traditional methods of getting there, by getting a record deal with a record company. You know, like sending the proverbial demo to the whoever decides at the record company. Now all of a sudden you've got other platforms like YouTube, Twitter, Spotify, where guys that don't have lots of money, don't need to have a large financial backing, can break through and become noticed. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, like, Lester was talking about TikTok. I mean, there's this one guy on TikTok. What's his name? Tjobs.
Yeah.
Tjobs. And I mean, his song has blown up on Spotify, and he's released his music through TikTok. And people have picked up his song and used, like Lester says, a sample out of his song and done TikToks to it. And that's given him this like sort of platform. And then all of a sudden it then spills over. People realize the whole song is available on Spotify, and the next minute he's getting all these stream downloads on Spotify. Would he have been able to do that if he, it might have taken him 5 years to get there?
Most likely, you wouldn't even break through.
Maybe, maybe not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like how many stories there are of basically artists sending their demos to record labels, and then all of a sudden they see their song being performed by another famous artist.
Yeah.
It's like,
well, I mean, like we're going a bit off topic here, but I mean, take someone like Stephen King, and you often hear the story that like an author says it took them 10 years to be an overnight success. Overnight success.
Overnight express.
Express. same, but different.
Same, but different.
But yeah, I mean, there's some story out there about how many times he got rejected by publishers. And I mean, the guy, he's now probably one of the most infamous authors in the world. You might not like his works, but everybody knows who Stephen King is.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how different would the world look if Stephen King had been able to publish his first book on some other media platform where he didn't depend on some person that was in a bad mood on a Monday morning that read his manuscript?
Yeah, I mean, the music industry, like the writing, the authors, it's a tough gig to get into. Lots of competition, and the gap for success is narrow. I mean, yeah, the old days, like the Stephen King at the start, those authors, lots of people have been writing for hundreds of years. The publishers are very select, and you can't get their time to get your book in front of them. You have to know people in a way. So it's very hard to get your book to the front, and then they still have to like it. There's always going to be criticism. It has to be perfect. And it's tough. It's a tough gig, right? So you have to almost get lucky. It's the same with the music industry. You have to be in the right place at the right time with the right style, the right sound. But I think today is easier for the music industry because you can get noticed on public
social media.
Social medias, you can. I mean, I'm just thinking, wasn't it Ed Sheeran that did something on YouTube, and that's really what, he was making music for ages, but not really
like
getting
Idols?
it.
Went through the whole Idols pipeline.
No, I don't think Ed Sheeran. No, I don't think Ed Sheeran did.
But the point is, you can now.
Yeah.
Through other other applications, you can project yourself out there and have a better chance of being spotted. It's still tough to get into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I suppose we've got to give credit to the record companies in a way, because they did change the way that they were finding new talent by creating shows like Idols and whatever. Well done, Simon Cowell. So made you a multimillionaire. Yeah, don't start.
It's a whole different topic.
But I mean,
Do you think the record producers then are influencing the award organizations? Because ultimately they want the publicity.
For sure.
Scandal.
For sure.
Yeah. But I mean, you can also talk about you can also talk about the music that gets played on radios. Okay, who decides what songs get played on the radio? Like the radios have playlists. I don't know if you remember Mark Pilgrim, who used to be on 5FM or Radio 5 or whatever it was back in the day. He used to be on a Saturday morning. And I think he got reprimanded, if not fired, I speak in a correction, fired for playing songs that were not on the playlist. So again,
and it was very much what's the popular music coming out of the rest of the world. There was lack of support for local music. There was lack of support for the alternative scene, and that's what that's what he was pushing. There were others pushing the South African music, and rightly so. But then it comes down to you as a radio station. What is it you're trying to play here? International pop hits, or you're just trying to educate people around the varieties of music that's out there?
And I think that's the thing, is that like your comments about maybe the record companies influencing the Grammys. Definitely the music companies influence the radio stations. in terms of what music they can play and what they can't play. Yeah.
So what's the
Anyway.
answer for the
Do you
awards?
still-
Go on.
Do people still listen to the radio?
No, I don't.
I do in the-
I don't
I'm
know.
just
Yeah,
wondering,
I
like,
do.
For what? For talk radio or for music? Lester, we've lost your sound, dude.
Yeah.
We lost your
lost
sound
our
for
sound?
yeah. No, it's back now. It's back now.
My point here is in the UK, there is a huge variety of music stations on the radio, and they're all online as well. So depending if you want to listen to 70s, 80s, 90s, 30s metal, 50s punk rock, you could just do that. I mean, Amazon has also helped because they've got all their own music genre stations as well. But you can, depending on your mood, you just go, right, I just want to listen to that. Bang. I want to listen to that era, that type, that artist. Yeah, and all the radio stations are in line with that.
Yeah.
If you want to listen to ABBA's hits, you can. There's a few stations that offer that. So we have that variety. And it's just there and easy. You can tune in, tune out of it. I've always got the radio on in the car.
Yeah.
Not that I'm driving anywhere because the fuel price is so expensive.
And there's nowhere to go. You can't stop anywhere except for home. You can ride around the block.
I can drive my car. I can drive my car wherever I want to go and get some fuel.
I can just picture Lester jumping in a car, putting on the radio, and you're sitting there for the next 20 minutes.
Yeah. We're on the road to nowhere.
I can neither deny nor confirm that has happened.
Oh, that's sad. That's sad. But
let's move back to my topic. Well, I think I was going to say, well, what's the answer then for awards? Because I think the recognition for artists, it's a hard job getting. I mean, we can't begrudge them making lots of money. For those who are successful, they probably put a lot of sweat, blood, and tears into this. So, let them be recognized for their efforts.
yeah.
Music's been around. It's part of who we are. It's part of the environment we live in. And we do need a constant stream of new sounds and new types of music. It's been like that for many, many years, right? Since Mozart's days, probably before. So, we should recognize people and encourage people to go out and try new things and, get behind it. But then what's the answer? We can't just leave it to one organization who may be a dinosaur, according to some people on this podcast.
No names mentioned.
No, what about didn't the MOBO Awards, the music of Black Origin, didn't that awards start because they weren't being recognized for that type of music?
Possibly.
They
Never
were
heard of
competing
it.
against. So you should speak to your producer.
She's never heard of it either.
The MOBO Awards, music of Black Origin, is around the soul music and a lot of R&B, and they have so it's an annual music awards, and they have those categories for those genres of music, because I think it was struggling to compete against established genres in the more recognized older award ceremonies.
Yeah.
So you can't have an R&B. If R&B was just emerging on the scene, and an R&B song was well taken up by the young listeners, that song might have been popular and famous and starting to see record sales, but it's competing with established rock bands or established artists who've been around for a few generations. And that's tough. It's a different
you've just
sound.
made
So
me
how
remember.
do you compete?
You've just made me remember why I don't watch the Grammys anymore. Right. Many, many years ago, when I was watching,
Were you
in the rock
shunned by the
category,
Grammy organization?
in the rock category, they had some nominees. One of them was Metallica, and the other one was Coldplay. Right.
What? How's Coldplay a rock band?
Thank you. And guess what? Coldplay won.
Well, maybe that's the sign of success. When you go to a Grammys and win six gongs,
No, when
you should
your
only be in
song
one category.
that fits into another category makes it into a category that it doesn't belong in and wins, that's the sign of success, dude.
or corruption. I'm not
didn't
saying
say a
it's how
word.
it was. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Phew.